This is America's great outdoors. Land and waters that are protected by a United States government law called the Wilderness Act. It protects more than 9 million acres, 37,000 square kilometers from development and ruin. These lands help tell America's story, from Wild West to modern powerhouse. Seen from the air like never before. There are many things about America that are unique. But there's one thing in particular that sets it apart. This was the first nation to protect wilderness by law, with the Wilderness Act of 1964. For 50 years, it's preserved places Americans love. And that's largely because of one man and his devotion to the outdoors. In the summer of 1956, a writer and conservationist named Howard Zahniser packed up his family and drove west to Wyoming's Grand Tetons. He'd just written the first draft of the Wilderness Act, which he hoped would protect places like this forever. That summer, Zahniser was taking a break to write about family camping. And though he didn't climb mountains, he admired them. He hiked with his wife and 4 children and relaxed by the region's many lakes. Then they drove north to Yellowstone and beyond. Zahniser was among a small but growing group of conservationists in the 1950s. They'd seen dams and roads affect national parks, and they were concerned about mining and logging on other protected land. Zahniser and his fellow advocates believed Americans needed a new law, one that would keep some places completely wild. He spent the next 8 years working towards that goal. Zahniser repeatedly lobbied Congress and wrote 66 drafts of the Wilderness Bill. On September 3rd, 1964, it became law and designated 54 wilderness areas. In 2014, the law's 50th anniversary, it will have protected more than 750 regions in the U.S. and Puerto Rico. These places have the government's highest level of protection. Some are within easy reach of the nation's biggest cities. Others are best accessed by bush plane. This pilot is flying to Denali Wilderness in south-central Alaska. It sits in the middle third of Denali National Park and covers more than 2 million acres. Within the wilderness, strict rules keep the area in its natural state. and visitors must leave no trace. The plane is delivering climbers hoping to summit Mount McKinley. Today's mountaineers arrive thanks to specially equipped landing gear. But early explorers navigated this area by dog sled. Among them was a wilderness advocate named Marty Murie. She went to McKinley in 1922, where a biologist named Olaus proposed. They became an inseparable scientific team. The Muries spent months in the field, doing pioneering studies on Alaskan wildlife. Later, they became grassroots leaders of the conservation movement. For decades, they pushed for wilderness protection of Denali. In 1980, their work paid off. Congress gave wilderness status to Denali and another 55 million acres of land. All of it was in Alaska. One of the state's best-known wilderness areas is in southern Alaska, on the rugged Pacific coast. Katmai Park and Wilderness is home to the world's largest concentration of brown bears. Hunting and habitat loss nearly wiped these animals out in the lower 48. But in Katmai, there's room to roam. They dig for clams on the coast, then wander miles inland to fish. Wilderness helps sustain 3,000 bears. It also preserves a key research area for scientists. The Valley of 10,000 Smokes is home to the biggest volcanic eruption of the 20th century. On June 6, 1912, a volcanic vent named Novarupta rumbled to life. For 60 hours, it spewed magma and ash, decimating the once green valley. Birds fell from the sky. All the mosquitoes were wiped out. The eruption was so powerful, the peak of a nearby volcano collapsed, forming a caldera. Scientists still don't fully understand the mechanics of the eruption. Wilderness status keeps the area pristine, so research can continue more than a century later. But of all Alaska's vast wilderness areas, one is the granddaddy of them all. Wrangell St. Elias. This remote spot was put on the map because of a mining camp. The old mining town of Kennecott serves as one of two main entry points to the wilderness, which is bigger than Switzerland. It stretches over 4 mountain ranges, including the Wrangell and the St. Elias. In the midst of the mountain kingdom is one of the world's most precious resources: ice. The Bagley Ice Field lies in the southern part of the wilderness. It's the largest ice field in North America, 25 times bigger than the island of Manhattan. On the surface, spots of melting snow create ponds and channels that refreeze into blue ice. Only single-cell organisms can survive here. But the Bagley is a lifeline. It produces glaciers, rivers of ice that stretch in all directions. Six feed the Copper River, which makes up the southern border of Wrangell-St. Elias. The river creates streams, which deposit nutrients into the Copper River Delta. And in these lush wetlands, wildlife thrives. The rich waters are vital to hundreds of species, like sea otters, who gather to dive for crabs and fish. Alaska's wilderness is rich, but remote. In the lower 48, wilderness is widespread and often within reach. In Florida, half an hour from Miami, is Everglades National Park. The park covers 1.5 million acres on the state's southern tip. 84% of it is Marjorie Stoneman Douglas wilderness. It was named for a woman who learned about the Everglades by chance. In 1942, Douglas was asked to write a book about the Miami River. She suggested the Everglades instead, which many considered a useless swamp. Douglas discovered it was an ecosystem that revolved around a river as wide as the state. The water flows from Lake Okeechobee. It feeds what Douglas called a river of grass. Today, the Everglades provides drinking water to millions and protects 24 threatened and endangered species. The ecosystem suffered a devastating blow in the 1950s with the construction of the Tamiami Canal and Trail. The government built it to stop flooding on farmland. But the canal cut off water flow. Huge pieces of the Everglades dried up. Many animals, including the wood stork, lost their nesting grounds. The birds moved north, but the nesting season there was too short and the food too sparse. The adults couldn't keep their babies alive. The animals dwindled from thousands to hundreds. Today, they're making a comeback, thanks to wildlife and wilderness protection. One of the biggest environmental efforts is the Everglades Restoration Project. The multi-million-dollar undertaking will try to restore some of the river's original route. wilderness is one of the few that extends onto the ocean floor. This area is protected for animals like sea turtles, which have been on the endangered species list for decades. Oil spills and poaching threaten them throughout the Gulf of Mexico. But they have a refuge 8 miles off the Mississippi coast in Gulf Island's wilderness. It's part of Gulf Island's national seashore. The area contains strictly protected nesting grounds for the most endangered sea turtle, the Kemp's Ridley. People hunted the animals to near extinction in the 1950s. In the 70s, they gained federal protection, as did the Gulf Islands. Now, each summer, when the hatchlings emerge, the coast is clear. They're hardwired to head for the ocean, 30 feet away. Instinctively, they'll remember this beach. In a decade, it will become their nesting ground. The Wilderness Act is designed to protect areas like these forever. The law might not have been possible without one president and his time in the North Dakota Badlands. Teddy Roosevelt National Park is home to 3 wilderness areas in the western reaches of the state. In 1883, Roosevelt boarded a train headed west. He was 24, newly married, and eager to hunt bison. It was his first extended trip out west, and it changed his life. Roosevelt spent 15 days in the Badlands with a cattle rancher as his guide. Afterwards, he bought a ranch on the banks of the Little Missouri River and built a small cabin. He intended to return here with his new wife. But 5 months later, she died after childbirth. His mother had passed away hours earlier. The Badlands became Roosevelt's refuge. He went on weeks-long hunting trips and threw himself into ranch work. In the coming years, he witnessed overgrazing on grasslands as cattle ranching grew. He called the mass hunting of buffalo a veritable tragedy. Conservation became increasingly important to the young Republican. As president, Roosevelt protected 230 million acres of land. His foresight saved many of America's most beautiful places. Across the country, Washington State is home to a well-recognized landmark, Mount Rainier. It's at the center of Mount Rainier National Park, which was established in 1899. Congress has designated nearly all of it wilderness. The area was important to naturalist John Muir, a forefather of the environmental movement. He came here in 1888 to climb Rainier and write about his journey. Muir and 4 other men navigated treacherous crevasses and ice cliffs. At 10,000 feet, they stopped at what's now Camp Muir. The next day, they reached the summit. He later wrote that the lights that shine from mountains illumine all that lies below. Muir went on to help found the Sierra Club and advise presidents. He spearheaded 3 national parks, including Rainier. "100 miles northwest of the park is one of the country's most important coastal areas. Olympic National Park and Wilderness sits in Washington's northwest corner. Its 900,000 acres includes some of the nation's best preserved shoreline. The coastal area is speckled with sea stacks, which serve as habitats for 300 species of birds. Further inland, the wilderness is bigger than Rhode Island. At its center is Mount Olympus, part of the Olympic Range. Within these jagged peaks are 60 glaciers, including the Blue Glacier. It feeds area rivers, which flow into the Hoh rainforest. This is among the country's few remaining temperate rainforests. They once stretched from Oregon to Alaska, but many were used for logging. The forests are protected from harsh weather by the surrounding mountains. The mountains trap ocean moisture and lead to 12 feet of rain each year. The rich vegetation feeds animals like the Roosevelt elk, which roam the area in large herds. Wilderness gives animals sanctuaries, both in the Northwest and the Midwest, home to a land of 1,000 lakes. Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness sits in northern Minnesota on the Canadian border. It was a sacred place for conservationist Sigurd Olsen. In 1923, Olsen and his pregnant wife settled in the nearby town of Ely so he could teach high school. He took summer work as a canoe guide. Olsen led hundreds of fishing and camping expeditions and taught others about the area. He became a leading nature writer, coming up with ideas at his cabin in the woods. Olsen's work influenced a generation of young people to enjoy the outdoors and protect it. He was a leading spokesman for the Wilderness Act. and his advocacy was key in protecting the boundary waters. "1,400 miles away, in New Mexico, a far different wilderness preserves remnants of an ancient civilization. Bandelier National Monument covers more than 33,000 acres in the northern part of the state. Congress designated 90% of it as wilderness. People enter the wilderness through Frijole Canyon, which contains some of the country's best preserved cliff dwellings. Ancestral Pueblo people came here in the 12th century. They constructed buildings with bricks of soft volcanic rock. Behind the structures, they carved rooms into the cliffs. The Pueblo survived here for 400 years. Overpopulation and drought forced them to move. At Bandelier, their legacy remains, protected for generations to come. In western Idaho, the Snake River is the driving force of a wilderness called Hell's Canyon. It gained protection through conservation leader Frank Church. He became a U.S. Senator in 1957 and walked into a heated debate about whether to dam the region. Lawmakers wanted to use the river as they had elsewhere, for hydroelectric power and irrigation. Senator Church was behind it. Dams meant development. But as companies fought over construction, he learned more about the canyon. It's North America's deepest gorge and a vital route inland for salmon. The fish are a cornerstone of plant and animal life in central Idaho. Church led the campaign to stop the dams. He also took the first steps towards wilderness designation. Over the next 30 years, Church continued to fight for Idaho's backcountry. He was instrumental in the protection of an area 80 miles away, known simply as the Frank. The Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness is the state's biggest protected area. It's one of the country's most remote places. 2.3 million acres of unmatched whitewater and wildlife. The Frank is so big, most people access it by bush plane. From the air, visitors fly over the Bighorn Crags, jagged summits that rise 10,000 feet. They're part of the Salmon River Mountains, which make up the central part of the Rockies. More than half of this area is so wild, there aren't even hiking trails. The Frank's size is vital for wide-ranging animals like mountain goats. They must travel long distances to forage for vegetation. Here, they have the habitat they need to move between peaks and valleys. The Frank has been vital for protecting and reintroducing species like wolves, which were brought back in the 1990s. wilderness has given animals a second chance, both in Idaho and hundreds of miles away on the California coast. Wilderness leaders were motivated in part by residents of cities like San Francisco. Conservationists believed people needed respites from urban areas. 30 miles north of the city is Point Reyes National Seashore, a third of which is wilderness. Before federal protection, the area was used for ranching and dairy farming. Some of that land use encroached on habitats for animals, including the Tule elk. Nearly 500,000 once roamed central California. In the mid-1800s, most were killed by market hunters and gold prospectors. By 1860, the elk were thought to be extinct. But a cattle rancher had secretly given refuge to the last herd. In 1978, the animals were reintroduced to Point Reyes. More than 3,000 now roam the seashore. Point Reyes beaches are vital to elephant seals. 1,000-pound females come here each year to rear their pups. They nurse and nap for a month. Then, they return to their feeding grounds 5,000 miles away. Nearly 400 miles southeast of Point Reyes is the lower 48's biggest wilderness, Death Valley. This is the hottest, driest, lowest place in the country. Yet, it's home to 1,000 species of plants and more than 400 kinds of animals. The area may be best known for the story of the lost 49ers. In December of 1849, a prospector named William Manley brought a wagon train here. He was leading 25 people, including women and children, to gold country. Manley was looking for a shortcut. Instead, he faced one of the world's most foreboding landscapes. Water was nowhere in sight. There were no signs of life. He managed to get the wagons across the desolate valley, but they couldn't cross the mountains. The families were trapped and starving. Finally, Manley and another man went for help. They thought they'd return in a few weeks. But the journey took a month. Amazingly, the families had survived. They'd found a spring for drinking water and hunted small game. Afterwards, they named the area Death Valley. In the nearby state of Utah, desert wilderness looks far different in Zion National Park. It's the state's most popular park, drawing 2.5 million visitors each year. Congress designated 86% of it wilderness in 2009. The area was protected for its stunning rock monoliths and deep sandstone canyons. They were formed millions of years ago when winds blew sand dunes on top of each other until they reached depths of 2,000 feet. Today, people flock to Angel's Landing, a 2.4-mile hike that ascends 5,800 feet. The reward is one of the best views in Zion. Wilderness is widespread in the West, particularly in Colorado's Rocky Mountains. It's home to Rocky Mountain National Park, 95% of which is wilderness. The area exists largely because of a kid who liked to climb mountains. In 1884, a sickly 14-year-old named Enos Mills left Kansas for Colorado. His family hoped the mountain air would improve his health. At 15, Mills climbed Long's Peak, which is at the center of today's wilderness. The mountain became his passion and his livelihood. Mills built an inn and later worked as a nature guide. He was the leading advocate for the park, which was established in 1915. Mills' foresight made wilderness protection possible in 2009. Since Mills' time, Colorado citizens have played a pivotal role in preserving their state's wild places. In the 1960s, 3 Aspen mothers organized one of the nation's first community-led wilderness campaigns. The women met in each other's kitchens and pored over maps of the surrounding mountains. They hiked into potential wilderness areas to gather data, and they rallied community support. Their efforts led to the protection of more than 400,000 acres around Aspen, including Maroon Bell's Snowmass Wilderness. Today, their innovative work serves as a model for community organizing nationwide. In southern Colorado, grassroots efforts led to the protection of Great Sand Dunes National Park and Wilderness. 300,000 people come here each year to see the strange contrast of sand and mountains. At nearly 750 feet, the dunes are the highest in North America, as tall as a 60-story building. They were formed over thousands of years as windswept sediment became trapped between the mountains and plains. The dune field is one of the most complex in the world, but wilderness designation allows people to explore it. It's just one of dozens of protected areas in the Rockies, preserved by everyday people. Arizona is home to a park and wilderness set aside to protect a species of plants. Saguaro National Park sits in southern Arizona and is split in two by Tucson. 81% of it became wilderness in 1976. These bikers are pedaling on the edge of the wilderness. They are surrounded by the cactus everyone associates with the Old West, with their distinctive arms and towering height. The plants also play a key role in the area's ecosystem. Deer, coyotes, and even humans rely on the moist green fruit. Some birds even nest in the plants to stay safe from predators. The cacti's iconic status has downsides. Cactus rustlers sell them for up to $500. Now, the Park Service implants microchip ID tags, like those used in pets, to deter plant poaching. Arizona is also home to one of the country's many proposed wilderness areas, the Grand Canyon. It was established as a national park in 1915. But wilderness advocates believe it needs an extra layer of protection. They're concerned about development around the park. They also object to noise pollution from motorized tours. Some local businesses oppose wilderness designation. They argue limitations will affect tourism and the region's economy. For now, heated debates continue about one of the nation's most iconic parks. The country's first national park is also proposed wilderness. 3 million people visit Yellowstone each year to see its geysers and other geothermic displays. Companies are vying to drill for oil and gas nearby. But environmentalists believe drilling would damage key wildlife habitats. Yellowstone is one of the only places in the continental U.S. where all the major predators are still present. It's also home to thousands of elk and bison, which were nearly extinct in the late 1800s. Today, Yellowstone contains the largest bison population in the country. The animals have inhabited this land since prehistoric times. For now, environmentalists continue to push for wilderness designation in Yellowstone and across the country. Their work continues the efforts of a small group of people in 1964. Efforts that now protect more than 100 million acres of land. Wilderness preserves the country's ancient history and provides resources for a sustainable future. The nation's wildest places remind us of America's pioneering spirit and its extraordinary leaders. They tell stories of men who conquered mountains and women who broke the mold. Most of all, America's wilderness is the people's wilderness. Protected and preserved for generations to come.